Welcome back to English Listening World. I'm Les Paris, and this is the 9th episode in our series, Akihiro's Listening Journey. In our previous episodes, Akihiro discovered the rhythm of English, learned to break sentences into manageable chunks, practiced shadowing, mastered high-intensity repetition, discovered the power of closing his eyes, learned to identify subject-verb-object patterns, focused on verb tenses, and paid special attention to post-verb words. Today, he'll tackle another challenging aspect of English: sound changes in casual speech. For many English learners, textbook English and real-world spoken English can seem like two different languages. Native speakers regularly transform words by blending sounds, dropping syllables, and connecting words in ways that don't appear in writing. Today, Akihiro will discover how recognizing these common sound changes can dramatically improve his comprehension of casual conversation. Let's join Akihiro as he makes this important discovery. Chapter 9: Recognizing Sound Changes in Words. 10 weeks into his English listening journey, Akihiro had made remarkable progress. His collection of listening techniques had transformed his daily work experiences. He now participated confidently in meetings, understood client calls, and even caught most of the English conversations around the office. Friday afternoon meant the weekly team lunch, a more casual setting where colleagues discussed both work and personal topics. Akihiro had started joining these lunches regularly as his confidence grew. "What do you want to do about the Thompson client request?" Akihiro paused, his fork halfway to his mouth. He had clearly heard, "What do you?" but the next word sounded like "wanna." Not a word he recognized from his client request. "Akihiro, you worked with them last week. Any thoughts?" Everyone was looking at him now. He had understood the topic was about the Thompson client, but he wasn't sure what exactly Mike had asked. I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't catch one word." "Sure. What do you want to do about their new security request?" This time, Mike spoke more clearly, and Akihiro heard "want to" instead of the strange "wanna" sound from before. I understand now. I think we should schedule a technical assessment before committing to their timeline." "Good call. I'll set that up." As the conversation continued, Akihiro noticed more strange pronunciations. Gonna instead of going to, dunno instead of don't know, gotta instead of got to. These weren't different words. They were the same words, pronounced differently in casual speech. Later that afternoon, Akihiro searched online for "wanna" English word. The results surprised him. "Wanna" wasn't a separate word, but a casual pronunciation of "want to." Similarly, "gonna" was "going to," and "gotta" was "got to." He found an article about reductions in spoken English, the tendency for common word combinations to blend together and lose sounds in casual speech. The article listed dozens of examples that native speakers use every day, but that rarely appear in textbooks or formal writing. Fascinated, Akihiro created a list of these reductions. Want to, wanna. Going to, gonna. Got to, gotta. Kind of, kinda. A lot of, a lotta. Don't know, dunno. Let me, lemme. On Monday morning, he shared his discovery with Tanaka-san during their coffee break. I was confused at lunch on Friday when Mike said wanna instead of want to. I didn't recognize it as the same phrase. Ah yes, reductions. They're everywhere in casual English. When I first came to America, I thought I'd studied the wrong language. My textbooks never prepared me for how people actually speak. Exactly. I've learned going to, but people say gonna. I've learned what do you, but it sounds like what'ya. In Japanese, we have formal and casual speech too, but English transforms words in different ways. The key is to learn the patterns of these sound changes. For example, want to and going to both have a T followed by to. In casual speech, these often blend into na endings. Once you learn this pattern, you'll hear wanna and know it's want to. Are there other common patterns I should watch for? Many. What do you becomes what'ya. Did you becomes didya. Would you becomes woulda. The D plus U pattern almost always blends together. Armed with this insight, Akihiro began listening specifically for these sound changes in his colleague's speech. In the elevator, he heard, "I'm going to be late for the meeting," and instantly translated it to, "I'm going to be late." At the coffee machine, someone said, "Did you finish the report?" And he understood, "Did you finish the report?" That evening, Akihiro joined several teammates for happy hour, the perfect opportunity to practice with even more casual speech. I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted from that client presentation. Don't know. Dunno. Akihiro mentally translated. Yeah, but the client seemed pretty happy. They're probably going to sign the contract this week. Probably. And going to, gonna. 2 more reductions. Let me grab another round. Anyone want anything? Let me. Akihiro was catching these transformations easily now. Akihiro, how are you finding the Thompson project? Is it what you expected? Hower, and whatcha. More patterns of sound change. It's more complex than I initially thought, but I'm enjoying the challenge. His colleagues looked impressed that he had understood Sarah's very casual question without hesitation. The next morning, during the team's informal stand-up meeting, Mr. Wilson spoke in his typical rapid-fire casual style. Did y'all get a chance to look at the specs? What do you think we should focus on? Akihiro, you got any thoughts on the security aspects? Just weeks ago, this casual speech would have been nearly incomprehensible to Akihiro. But now, he mentally translated each reduction instantly. Did you all get a chance to look at the specs? What do you think we should focus on? Akihiro, you got any thoughts on the security aspects? Yes, I've reviewed them. I think we should prioritize the encryption modules, since they'll impact everything else. That's what you recommended last week, right? Good to see the analysis confirms it. Yes, the new specs are consistent with our initial assessment. That evening, on the train home, Akihiro added to his growing collection of listening techniques. Technique number 9. Recognize sound changes in words. Learn common reductions in casual speech. Want to, wanna. Going to, gonna. Got to, gotta. Kind of, kinda. Have to, hafta. What do you, what'ya. Did you, dija. Look for patterns in these reductions. T plus 2 often becomes da or na sound. D plus u often blends to ja or cha sound. Unstressed vowels often reduce to a sound. Create mental dictionary mapping casual to formal speech. Note, reductions are more common in casual settings than formal settings. He also noted how this technique combined with his previous ones. Use rhythm recognition to identify stressed syllables. Reductions happen in unstressed parts. Apply chunking, but be aware chunks may blend in casual speech. Shadowing helps train ear to produce and recognize these sound changes. Remember these changes affect phrasal verbs too. Pick it up. Pick it up. Akihiro smiled as he closed his notebook. 9 techniques now, each one bringing him closer to understanding natural English as it's actually spoken, not just as it appears in textbooks. The gap between textbook English and real-world English was closing. What had once seemed like a different language was now becoming familiar territory. He still had more to learn, but each day, each conversation, became less of a challenge and more of an opportunity. And that's how Akihiro discovered his 9th listening technique, recognizing sound changes in words. To practice this technique yourself, try these simple steps. Learn common reductions used in casual English speech. Notice patterns in how words transform. T plus 2 is na. Listen specifically for these reductions in casual conversations. Create mental translations between reduced forms and full forms. Remember that more formal situations have fewer reductions. Combine with previous techniques for comprehensive understanding. This technique is particularly important for learners who have studied primarily from textbooks or formal materials, as these rarely show how words actually sound in everyday conversation. Join us next time when Akihiro discovers how recognizing the disappearing H sound can further improve his understanding of natural English.